evening, everybody. How you doing? It's Paddy,
And we, Jud.
and this good-looking fellow on the other side is Michael Du Plessis, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, just shout at me, Michael.
That is 100%. That's 100%.
Good. Well, Michael is originally from South Africa. I take it you were from South Africa from birth?
Yes.
Yes. So originally from South Africa, and just under a year ago, he moved his whole operation over to the UK for his sins. Hopefully, we're going to find out what on earth made him do that, being a knife maker, because I'm sure the laws must be better in South Africa. Although there is problems with knife laws in South Africa too, I believe. But we'll get to all that.
And first off, what we'll do, Michael, is we'll introduce you to the lunatics in the chat, okay? Because there is always a crowd of the usual suspects, I suppose, is the best way to describe them. So we've got Ghost Malone, Sean's in, we've got Six Gun Slinging, Jesse, we've got Mikey Newman, the troublemaker extraordinaire, we've got Tim Titus, Tony's Ponies, Roland Bratt, Kathleen's in, Sean's in, and
Mark
Conky's in as well.
I thought Mark might have been in.
And Elan's in, Biggie's Knives are in. That's a new one, I think.
Biggie's Knives was in last week. It's really lovely to see you, Big
Norman
lad.
Johnson's in, Midnight Crisis is in, Oh Father EDC, and EDC himself.
Oh, they're certainly all come in now. That's great. You see, they knew you were coming, so I knew you would get a good response right from the word go. So, Michael, you're the only, well, let me tell you this. The only other South African that I've been more excited to see, and I'm sorry, this is the truth, is Michael Pienaar, who played for Ulster. Are you a rugby fan?
I don't know if you know, but Michael Du Plessis actually played for the Springboks.
Yeah. Michael Pienaar did as well. Yeah.
So if you come from South Africa, I think it's a given that you enjoy rugby.
Yeah.
I didn't play it that well, but I enjoy watching it. And sometimes when we play, it upsets me a bit too much. So, yeah.
That's quite normal, yeah.
Oh, right. That's a beautifully diplomatic way of saying that you start throwing things at the television, Michael. I've seen him.
My family don't watch rugby with me, so
no, yes. None other than mine. In fact, my neighbours move out when I'm watching rugby. I get very vocal, and if I'm up at the pitch, I'm even worse.
Yeah.
It's a good day. Well, sorry, you're in England, so you're not going to get there. But Ulster every year we get a new South African to play for us. It's part of the deal we have. And we had Pienaar here for a lot of years. And man, he was the most exciting. I think it's the only man I've had a proper man crush on. He is just a diamond to watch playing rugby.
Oh, that one's going to blow up in the chat and instantly. It is.
Anyway, yeah.
But all I would say is, from a medical perspective, what I would recommend is that a passionate interest and connection with rugby and a passionate connection and interest in knives is probably not the safest mix.
Yeah,
you know, I would suggest that
controlled aggression.
Controlled aggression.
Aggression.
That's great. That is terrific. But it's very nice to have you.
Except the rugby I played Navy rugby, which was aggression.
Murder ball, basically.
Yeah, you didn't have to know the rules. You just hit somebody who was coming at you. Yeah, it was very different rugby. Anyhow, Michael, to get back to you, give us a little brief outline of your life. You know, how you grew up, what part that knives played maybe in your teenage years, your younger years, and what made you get into knife making?
I think it's a difficult question to answer because I grew up with a knife. I grew up on a farm. My dad always wore a knife. He always sharpened his own knives on a oil stone. So yeah, I basically always had a knife. And I think that what got me into knife making is I was just always interested in knives, and we in South Africa use it a lot for hunting, and you always cut up something, you always busy cutting some twigs and stuff like that. So yeah. No, we I think there's a high percentage of men in South Africa that still wears knives with them each day.
Yeah, I'm afraid over here It's becoming a dying thing. Men carrying a knife, they just don't. I mean, all my sons have no interest in knives. They've had drawer full of customs. They can take their pick. They don't want one. Literally, just don't want one. I can't give them to them.
But
No interest.
what got you into actually making knives? What I mean, carrying a knife is one thing, but
So,
how did you get into making them?
well, when I was young, I always tried to make a knife out of some piece of metal that I could find to be sharpened and make some kind of a weapon with or a tool with. And when I grew up, I did a fixed blade course with Andre Thorburn, which is a well known maker
Yes,
in South Africa. But that was like many years ago. I think it was in 2004, if I can remember correctly. And obviously, at that stage, I didn't have any money for machines and stuff like that. So I basically didn't do anything for more than 10 years. And I got into a group in the north coast of South Africa on the eastern coast, the North Coast Knife Makers Club in March 2015. And so I was introduced to a few makers and people who now I call my friends. They told me about a competition that the South African Guild runs like every 2 years, I think, to introduce new makers into the guild, where they have a non-guild competition, and they've got a set knife that you need to make, and then they judge them according to their strict rules. So I said to the guys, well, I'm interested in doing the competition, but I didn't have any machines at that stage. So Francois Massain, also a well-known maker in South Africa, he lived in the town which was adjacent to the one that I stayed in, and he invited me to make knives in his workshop. So in August, I entered that competition, and out of 83 contestants, I came second.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I got addicted to it, and
Yeah, we know how that feels.
I started making machines and started setting up a workshop, and I was introduced to Willem O'Kelly, which is a well-known slip joint maker from South Africa. His company is called Karoo.
Yeah.
In 2018, I think, end of 2018. And that's when I started making slip joints. And I haven't made a fixed blade since. So, yeah, I think the challenge of making a slip joint is like next level to making a fixed blade. And I think that's what I like about it. It's always a challenge, even though you have made 300 or more. It's always a challenge.
Isn't it funny though? People's perception always think that a fixed blade
Yeah.
and a slip joint are the easiest to make. A lot of people just think they're easy, and they're probably harder than any locking knife you're ever going to make.
Well, lockback is more difficult than a slip joint, I would think.
No, I mean locking knives, like modern locking knives.
Yes, like a liner lock or a frame lock.
Yes.
I would not know the answer of that question because I've never tried to make a liner lock or a frame lock.
I suppose
But
a more interesting question for me is: does that mean that slip joints are popular in South Africa? I mean, is it
Is it a law?
given that there's quite a number of makers that you just named there in the knife making community, and they seem to be throwing out a lot of slip joints. Is it a popular thing, or even as Stephen says, is it a legal requirement in South Africa?
There's no legal requirement for any knife in South Africa, nothing at all. You can carry whatever you want to, as big as you want to. You can carry a panga with you if you want to. There's no.
I'm going to come back in a second because I have no idea what a panga is. What's a panga?
It's like a panga is a South African word. I didn't. Mark said I should speak Afrikaans to you guys, so maybe I should do that.
I love a bit of Afrikaans.
You'll probably be shocked. Us Irish can understand most gibberish.
So, it's like a bush cutter. It's something that you
a prang or something like that.
hack bushes with when you in a forest.
A weed whacker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a weed whacker. Yeah, you can call it a weed whacker.
Gotcha. But so back to the question: Are slip joints then a popular thing, or is it a fairly niche?
So, if it comes to customs, I think it's a niche.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think of the Swiss Army knives and the Kershaws and the Spyderco's these days, well, Spyderco I don't think makes a slip joint, but yeah,
they do.
Yeah, they are very popular to carry all over South Africa. I think many people still do carry knives there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Would be lovely.
Really nice.
Would it be lovely?
The other thing I was going to say, the trouble is, I think when you're a custom maker, it is niche, and that is the thing. You have to find where you're going to find that niche and head to it. And I mean, sort of sending around the world to different people and getting your face put out more places than if you were just doing ordinary locking knives or whatever. I think any custom knife has to find places that are going to sell. So is the hunt for places to sell your knives, is that something you've had to worry about, or something that you take into consideration?
It's a difficult question to answer in the sense that the market for knives, what I found is definitely in the US. The biggest market for any knife is huge in America. So I think they have a lot of disposable income that they buy knives and guns with. If you look at where the biggest knife show is, Blade Show in Atlanta, Georgia, is definitely, it gives you an indication that the biggest market chunk is America. And yeah, that's why I am planning to go to Blade Show in 2025 if all works out.
I would love to go to that show, but it's just too big for me. I know I would just get lost in it. I would.
Yeah, no, but you're not trying to sell stuff.
It's different. Stuff. Yeah, but it to me that is just way too big for my head to cope with. I'd end up sticking at one table and just talking to the same person for 3 days.
But I think it would be perfect for what you're talking about, Michael, in terms of getting your product out there.
Are you actually going to take a table?
Yes, definitely. So I actually was supposed to go to Blade Show in 2023, but then my plans changed to come to the UK. So I needed to decide either to come to the UK or go to Blade Show, and I decided to come here rather.
Right, so that's the wrong decision, Michael. That was the wrong decision. Always Blade Show. Always Blade Show.
No, I don't think so. So, Blade Show 2025 is it's like a goal for me to go to, and I will definitely have a table if they'll let me, which I think they will, because I already had a table booked for 2023.
That should be good.
So the to come back to your question about the markets, even when I was in South Africa, I sold 80% of my knives in America. And I would say 15% in Europe, and the rest to like one in Australia, one in South Africa every now and then. not a lot of customers in South Africa itself.
Yeah, is there a lot of knife makers in South Africa in the slip joint genre?
So to name a few, obviously Willem, which started everything off for me. He has taught me. Francois Massain started making slip joints recently. A friend of mine had a go at it. Stefan Diedrichs. I don't know if he still makes at the moment. I know he still makes fixed blades, but he's mostly into selling consumables for knife makers. Rian Naras makes slip joints. I think Mark will actually be able to answer that question better than I am. Because I think he's got to do with it. I taught another guy, Robbie Ferreira, how to make slip joints. He's making some.
And your son makes knives, doesn't he?
Both my sons have made knives before. So currently they don't have a workshop because I left. And
I'm selfish.
Very. So one is busy with his apprenticeship with the same company that I work for here and worked for in South Africa. And yeah, so his plan is to maybe come here if the opportunity arises. And the other one, yeah, he's planning to go to America, but his plans, yeah, he's busy still working on that plans. So none of them are making at the moment, but both have made slip joints that was sold to Mark.
Yeah, I've seen them on Mark's site.
Yeah.
Very nice knives, I must say, as well. Very much Dad's image in them.
Yes, it's got a lot of influence from me because I was standing behind them making them.
Yeah, I remember that nose hair touching the back of my neck when my father taught.
Yeah. Tell me this, Michael. Michael, we've got Elan in the chat has coming up with some fantastic questions, which I want to work through because he's doing our work for us actually. So the first one is maybe on your phone, but it might be too small for you to read if you're on your phone. So of all the names that you've mentioned there, is there anybody whose work you admire and look up to in terms of the South African custom makers? People you worked with for, or maybe not?
Well,
never.
Slip joint makers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Willem will always be, Willem O'Kelly will always be, well, it's one of my best friends. So Willem is always the guy that go when I have trouble, which I did today, to ask him some questions. So yeah, I would say Willem is the guy that I look up to most.
You and Willem are the only two South African knife makers I have in my collection.
And that's Willem
O'Kelly.
Karoo knife.
Oh, from Karoo.
Yeah. It doesn't matter now. Yeah. I'll get it. I've had a couple of his and
yeah, and Congi again keeps quite a selection of Karoo knives on his books. Yeah,
so Justin has just sort of found the Congi's knife sales, and his head has been turned.
That is, it physically it starts me drooling, Michael. It really does. It physically does that. And another question from Elan: Do you collect knives yourselves, and do you keep any of the other knife makers in your own collection if you do?
Well, I try not to because it's too costly exercise. I collect machines, like you can see, but I do have a full Jacobs, which I recently got from Mark Congerton. I've got a Anthony Conan, which is an Irish maker, which I visited actually a few years back when I visited my sister in Ireland. And yeah, that's basically and I've got a Karoo. But Other than that, and I've got a Michael Du Plessis one. That's my collection. 4 knives.
See, but that's a lesson to us all, and it's funny because when we were talking to Ashley Harrison, who Stephen mentioned earlier, who's one of the last of the little nesters in Sheffield, he's the same as well.
Yeah.
He would have a knife in a drawer to do work with, but he's probably sick of the sight of them.
He doesn't even carry a knife.
Yeah,
he doesn't carry a knife.
Carry a knife anymore because it's what you work with on every day.
I can't say I'm sick of. I love my knives and I'm passionate about it. So I can talk about knives. Don't get me started. I'll talk like forever about it.
Yeah.
No, we want you to start, Michael. We want you to start. Yeah, we'll get you started.
Well, tell me this: do you have a full-time job then? Is that what you've moved over for the work?
Yes, I do have a full-time job.
God, then your life must be hectic.
Yeah, my wife said it is. So yes,
Yeah,
it's not. No, it's not that bad. Because if I need me time, this is where I come. This is my sacred place. This is where I wind down and.
Yeah.
So
and then you get
whenever.
Then you get ages like us interrupting your quiet time. That's the trouble.
Nah, that's not a problem. That's not an issue for me. I can do that.
So one of the last final questions. There's one more that I want to come back to, but Alan would also like to know if you're going across the Blade Show next year, who would you like to meet most at Blade Show if you had the opportunity? Is there anybody that stands out?
I think Phil is a very nice guy. I've spoken to him a few times, asked him a few questions. Phil Jacobs, he recently joined. Got a name. I can't remember the name. It's like a cartel, slip joint cartel, I think they're called.
Yeah.
Which is headed by. I'm not good with names. Can't remember, but it's a Texas maker. But they are next level. They are really. I can't phantom myself joining them one day, but that's the goal, is trying to join the cartel one day. Just maybe when
he has a look at that Italian sort of spaghetti eating sort of that fella. You can just see that face in a cafe.
I think the important thing is that you don't join the wrong cartel, Michael. Just don't join the wrong cartel, you know. But
I'll try my best. I'll try my best. So the guy that I want to say is inspired me is Tony Bowes. I think everybody knows his work, and I don't know if anybody can see it, but I think, well, I try to make stuff that is that would carry his stamp of approval if he was still around.
Everything rounded. That's Tony Bowes' sort of, lovely rounded curves. You always made a dive.
What I'll do is I'll put a picture up here of some of Michael's work so that people can see what's going on. So this is just from Michael's Facebook page,
and we'll have a link down in the description afterwards to his Facebook page and his Instagram.
As you can see, some of the stuff here. I mean, we're looking at just a few of them, and it's just outstanding. This is the one that's Stephen.
This will be on my channel within a year. I have not seen a knife that's excited me as much as this one. This will be on my channel. I just think it is stunning.
It really is. And Michael, what is the material of the scales on that, of the handles on that?
That is a stabilized maple bull that is dyed. Dyed stabilized maple bull.
And we've come across stabilized maple before, but the pattern on that is unreal.
Yeah, it's
stunning.
But I think you can speak to Mark about that knife. I'm sure it's in his collection.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got one. Yeah, he's definitely got one.
Yeah. Well, no, I think Stephen will be coming to you directly. And
I have a thing about when I'm buying a custom. like I don't do it that often because I can't afford, a big knife that often. Well, I could, but I'm not on a YouTube channel, which takes up a lot of your money just to feed it. So, but I mean, I love buying it from a maker. I've got one of your knives anyway. Do you know what I mean? But that one is the one with a clip blade that I really want. So I'd love to get it from the maker.
Yeah.
Hello, I'll get Congy to put a good word in for me. Don't worry, Mark's a nice fella. I'll give him a few shout outs and get him to put a word in for me.
And what's this one, Michael? Does this ring any bells? Because this is a gorgeous one. The spear on that is just beautiful.
That's a knife I made for a doctor's friend of mine in South Africa, who is a professional hunter as well. Yes, yeah, it's a giraffe bone.
Yeah,
it's a spear
love
point.
giraffe bone dies so well, doesn't it?
It really
It does. It does.
And this, I mean, you've even got photographs as part of the process as well. So you've got the liners and the pins, and some of the guys were actually asking about your favorite materials. So I mean, you've already shown that you've got stabilized wood, giraffe bone, and I think I've seen some other kind of jigged bone in there. What are your favorite materials for from the steel to the handle materials? What are your favorite materials for producing a knife?
I think currently giraffe bone, dyed giraffe bone is my favorite. It works very nicely. This one that I have here that I showed you guys beforehand is also a giraffe bone that has been dyed. I get it from a supplier in South Africa that her husband is actually also a fixed blade maker, Arno Bernard.
I've heard of him. Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think he's a bit high.
So Louise supplies me with the giraffe bone that I like the most. She sends me WhatsApp pictures of what she's got available, and then I have a pick of what I like.
Yeah.
Do you buy them pre-dyed, Michael, or do you do that yourself?
No. I buy them pre-dyed. Yeah. So she sends me. Yeah.
That's a lot of hassle you don't need with a knife, isn't it?
And the steel for the blades, what would your preference be?
So N690 is the cheapest high-end stainless steel. I don't use any high carbon steels out of principle because I spend too much time working on a knife for a guy that doesn't enjoy the knife to neglect and it rusting in his drawer. So I don't make knives with high carbon steel if I can avoid it. I have had customers ask me, and then I've used some 5160, but I think there's only two that I know of that I made out of high carbon steel.
N690 is super anyway. It's a nice steel.
Yes, but lately I've used a lot of RWL 34, which is a higher end stainless, which works very nicely, and it's got a beautiful walk and talk. So yes, it's currently my favorite steel to work with.
So one of the major conversations that we have time after time here has got to do with the walk and talk, and it's about the strength of the pull. So Michael, you tell me, are you a squishy pull kind of guy, or are you a nail breaker pull kind of guy?
It depends on who you ask, because if you ask a customer, I'm gonna say it, from England, once phoned me and said he just broke his nail, and I said to him, well, how I test my knives is I give it to my 9-year-old daughter, and if she can open it, then I'm happy with it. So
oh, that's awesome! I love that.
I've never heard back from him again, but yeah. So
that was
brilliant.
But she's got a very strong hand. Yeah, so she can pinch very tight.
You're not telling him. You're not telling him.
Your knives are good. a good 7 pull. The ones I've had,
Yeah.
probably to me a 7 pull.
So I agree with you. This one that I have here is an old knife from say 2022, if I'm correct. And at that stage, well, when I opened this, I was actually shocked how hard it was to open. And I've worked on that, and I have changed it a bit to be a bit closer to 5. But I'm definitely not at a 5. I'm more
Oh,
5.5, 6.
7.5.
Yes.
But
But
I actually like an 8 or a 9 pull. I'll get Ashley when he's making my custom knives. I ask him for and he sent me one last year. Well, the one you bought me for Christmas, he got me one made for Christmas, and it's a 9.5. I have never had a stronger pull. The first night I got it, and I have strong nails. I can open it no problem. But you see, the next day, because I was doing it that often, I got repetitive strain down my arm. I couldn't move my bloody arm the next day. It was so bad. You couldn't get it open.
No,
Harley.
I know I could barely get it open,
Uh-huh.
but more to the point, when it is open, it's like a flaming fixed blade
Yeah.
because it's got such a good, strong spring on it. It's just
Yeah, I
it's
always ask
amazing.
between 8 and 9. That's I like a strong pull.
that it's like, how long is a piece of string? Because
Exactly.
you can't answer the question, because how do you define that? I actually once tried to make a mechanism to test the pull with like a force. But I mean, even if you measure the force, if you measure it here and you measure it there, it's going to be a different force to open the knife. So it's very difficult, because you can't measure it. That's the
Yeah,
bottom line.
one of the most often asked questions a YouTuber who, like me, promotes slip joints is what is the pull? How do you decide which the pull is? And you can't give anybody an answer because
No.
No, you
nobody think
can't.
we're
It's
completely different.
It's all subjective.
Uh-huh.
It is all sort of a ballpark figure, and basically
Yes.
what you're saying is that if on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 is you can barely get it open.
Yeah.
6, you can open it up and it's relatively strong, but 7 or 8 are going to give it really some nice tension on the back spring. 9, 10, that's almost unbearable for most people, I would imagine.
But
So yeah,
Justin, the problem is, if you give me a knife, I will most probably be able to open it. But if you give my wife the same knife, she wouldn't be able to open it. So
Exactly.
if you say you, then by saying you, you're already putting it out there, because everybody's not the same strength.
yeah, but that's it exactly. That's it exactly. So when it comes down to actually making a custom knife, then Michael, is that one of the things that you would ask from the person commissioning it? Is that in terms of the walking talk?
I don't ask that. Like the knife that I sent to the US last week, the customer asked me to make it stronger than normal pull, and he received the knife on Monday or Tuesday, and he was very happy that it's stronger than usual. So that might be because I make them a bit stronger than usual. Um, but it's not different to the other knives that I make, if that answers your question. But the thing is, it's very difficult to adjust the pull for me, if the design doesn't allow you to. So it's a balance between how much pull and how much walk and talk you want in the knife. So for me, I like the walk and talk.
Yeah.
And I don't mind the pull. So that's most probably why I make it like that.
You see, I've got a lot of knives that are about 5, 5.5, but the ones that I really like and will use are the ones that got a nice walk and talk.
Yeah.
You don't have to have 8 to have a nice walk and talk. It's
No,
what I
you don't.
prefer, but I have got ones that are 5.5 and they are just beautiful walk and talk.
Yes.
Okay, Michael. Sorry, Michael. Go ahead. Sorry, I've interrupted you.
No, I didn't wanted to say something.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put up a wee screenshot here of a selection of your knives. I'm hoping you can see them. Can you see them? Okay.
I can see them okay.
Yeah. So what I was hoping, because somebody was asking, one of the guys was asking in the chat what your favorite pattern is, and I thought this picture was a beautiful illustration of some of the range that you do. I'm kind of hoping I'm not catching you on the hoof here, Michael, and you do actually recognize all of these knives. So
I do recognize those knives. Those knives I made for my submission to the South African Guild. Yes.
wow.
And yes, I was admitted to the guild well, end of 2002. Yes,
My
but
God, you
I
really have
can't
climbed
remember.
the ranks very quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You really have climbed the ranks very quickly. I didn't realize it was that short.
Yeah.
It really is. That's a credit to you, because that's
Yeah.
some standard. That they don't let anybody into that guild in South Africa. You have to be able to make knives.
Yeah. Can you
I was
talk us
the first member of the guild that only submitted slip joints, and I was the first member of the guild that was admitted with only slip joints.
Isn't that fantastic?
So you're making history right there. That's amazing, actually.
Yeah, it was a long thought process before I decided to actually send my knives to be evaluated. To come back to your question, which is my favorite pattern, it is the Tony Bose rabbit knife, which is not even in that lineup. But in that lineup, I would say the second from top, the Zulu Spear.
Oh yeah.
I haven't got a Zulu Spear yet. I don't know why I haven't, because
some of the guys were mentioning the Zulu Spear in the chat, and the Zulu Spear, yes, just to get the free advert out for Congi, because I still owe him, is available on Congi's Knife Sales. Yeah. Now somebody else is asking about price, but I don't want to get the price yet, Michael. So don't worry about that. But the Zulu Spear is the second one. Can you talk us through the other four knives, just in terms of, is the top one you describe as a Barlow?
Yes, that's basically a sheep's foot Barlow.
Beautiful.
And then the third one is a drop point trapper. And the fourth one is a swayback Warncliffy. And the last one I can't see properly, but I can remember it's a clip point.
Yeah, it's Turkish clip.
It's sort of like a little pen knife, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
What I call a pen knife. It's probably not correct, but I call a little single jackknife a pen knife.
Yeah. They are.
You know, I'm actually thinking of changing my mind as I'm sitting here now. When I do order it, I think I'm going to have a Zulu Spear, because I don't have one, and I have no reason why I shouldn't have one. I don't know why I've not got one. I love a spear point and I love a drop point,
but there's something lovely about
there
that.
There is. I mean,
it's
the symmetry.
There's more. Yes, the symmetry is beautiful, but there's more of almost a curve on the top, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
That is a really nice example now.
But they are beautiful knives, Michael. Absolutely beautiful knives.
I take it when you're putting that in for the competition or the exam, that you have to do all one color of handle so that people can judge them on the knife itself.
No, you don't. That's just me. I liked it to be like uniform, and so those 5 knives are in the family. I gave my boys one each, and I gave my brother-in-law and these 2 sons one each of those knives.
Lovely. That's a real special thing to keep.
Absolutely.
Yes. What about your wife? Does she like knives?
I think I like them enough for both of us.
That's the same as mine. As soon as I talk about knives, there's a glazed look comes over my wife's face.
She doesn't mind me loving them.
Yeah.
She she has her own. She's got like a small, I think it's even smaller than 3-inch pink knife that I made her. But that's it. She
Yeah.
they have kitchen knives, but
Yeah, my
nothing
wife's
other
got
than that.
3 little small knives that were gifts that from some of them from my subscribers sent her some beautiful little like a dragonfly knife and beautifully exotically made. It's beautiful. I've never carried it, I'll have to say, but it's beautiful. Um, the other thing I wanted to say here's a, how many knives would you? You probably is no answer to this, but I just feel as if in an average month, how many knives would you like to make? What's your sort of target to keep you flush?
I don't need to make knives to keep me flush because I've got a job.
Uh-huh.
But to finance all these things that I have behind me,
Uh-huh.
I try to make. Yeah, it's a balance between family
Yeah.
and this. But if I put my head down, I can make a knife in a week in my
Right.
spare time. But
Well,
um, then everything needs to run smooth, and I don't need to come late from work. And
yeah.
because I'm a field service engineer for a company that manufactures and supplies earth moving equipment. So
Right.
my day job is very physical at
Full on.
stages.
Yeah.
So when I fitted the engine and a transmission to a machine, um, and the second day I'm pooped, so I don't come to the workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, yeah, in South Africa I had a cushy job, sitting behind a desk, and I would work from I worked a 6 to 2 shift, and when I got home, I worked from 3 till 11 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
sometimes, and then I pushed out the knives. I actually made like 2 a week at some
Wow.
stages. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? I take it it's more difficult to make customers' orders rather than making up a batch of say 6 and selling them that way. Do you do that sort of thing? No.
I've never done that.
Right.
I've never done that. I have decided to rather make custom knives
Yeah.
because for me it's a personal thing. It's not something that
Yeah.
I want to. I don't. If I would go into production, I will not enjoy it as much as I do currently, and then it would just become a work. It would not be the passion that it is at the moment.
Isn't that so true of everything? It was absolutely true. So, but as a lead-on question of what Stephen was getting at, and as to bring it into it, what would be your normal lead time to ask you to build a knife?
Um, so currently my books is open and my list is short because of the fact that I moved
Yeah.
here and my books was closed for a long time. So currently it's short, Justin. It's not that long. I actually finished a customer order today, and my next knives is going to be available.
Fantastic.
Well, those of you in the comments who actually want, or if you watched this a day or two or a week ago, now's the time to get one of his knives before he gets settled. Because once he
I'm
gets
busy.
settled, it'll get longer and longer. And it's always the case. If he keeps making good knives, he'll get longer. So if you've got a chance, if you've got the funds now, get in early, get him some orders.
And I suppose it's only honest of us to mention the funding thing. Michael doesn't make cheap knives, guys. He doesn't make. This is custom quality knives. So, Michael, what kind of price range? Scare us. What kind of price range are we talking
Oh,
about here?
Um, it's 400 pounds. That's
Yeah.
that's the standard knife with the RWL blade, giraffe bone scales. Yeah, That's a knife with a bolster is 400 pounds.
£400. And I mean, given the workmanship
Yes.
that goes into it, I mean, I think that's comparable with almost all other custom knife makers at the minute, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you think of any other trades out there that are going to put the amount of work into something, even a mechanic on your car.
Yes.
If he was to charge you for all the hours that he puts in doing that, you couldn't afford to get a mechanic to do it. Well, you can hardly afford to do it now, but you know, a knife maker puts a week's work in. Well, that's you've got to charge.
But I think it's because they're special, Michael. I mean, you're not going out and buying these things every day. It is going to be a special treat, but for the collector or for someone who's really passionate about about their knives. Yeah.
Sorry, there's Joe Lafayette in there. I don't know whether you've heard of Joe Lafayette. La Pietra. I can't speak French. La Pietra. He's a custom maker from Canada who I became friends with, and he's bringing his knives over here to the UK. I've got him. You know, I haven't got him. We sorted out a dealer for him to come over and bring the knives over here, and he makes friction folders. A bit like Crew would do quite a lot of friction folders as well.
Yes.
These are absolutely amazing, I have to say. Let me just see if I got one. I think you would appreciate the workmanship. And he spent about 6 years getting this from a thought in his head to getting machinery to get it. And he does a lot of his blades are done on a CNC machine. But this is one of the nicest friction folders. I don't know if you can see that grind.
Yes. Yeah, very nice.
It's CNC milled all the way down. You can see the lines. It is a beautiful knife. Really I love the shape of the handle. It's one of the most comfortable handles. So that's coming to the UK soon as well. And that's what I'm trying to get in the channel. Maybe once a month, I want to get a new knife maker that new to me or new to the people maybe in the UK and give them a bit of promotion. Because if we don't promote you, I'm sorry, knives are in the UK. The nanny state will win and will not be allowed knives at all soon. So
Aaron Joe's just pointing out that it's Italian, not French. Stephen, just
yeah, but it's European. I don't speak any European. No,
it's okay. I've got you covered, Joe. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
They're close enough to learn English.
Oh, here we go. This is what I have to put up with, Michael, every single time.
I'm old enough now where I don't care what I say.
So. We've got a couple of other questions. We've had some queries about the carbon steel, which I think you were fairly clear on, Michael.
Yeah, he's not that clear. He left a wee gap there for me to sneak in.
He doesn't do carbon steel.
No, he left a wee gap there.
No, he didn't, Stephen. He was very clear. No, the other question is somebody, because we do. I mean, as nutcases in the community, we get a wee bit precious about the different steels that are available. So there is a certain amount of curiosity about whether or not you've played around with some of the high-end powdered steels like Magna Cut or S35VN or anything like that, and whether or not that would ever work its way into your knives.
Yes, I think it will. I do have a piece of Magna Cut here somewhere that I still need to try out, but it will definitely.
Yeah. I've got a few knives with Magna Cut in it, and it's really good. But it's not this burst that everybody calls. It is good. It sharpens easy, but there is other steels that do that. The one thing it has better overall three things, the main things you need in a blade, but it's not, way up there.
I'm more interested though in whether how hard or what difference there is in terms of working it as the knife maker. I mean, is it more difficult to work than RWL or N690, or is it a different approach that you need to take? Or
between RWL and N690, there's not a lot of difference between the two. I think the RWL, if anything, works a bit easier, but the cost of the steel is a bit more than the N690. It's substantially more than the N690 for me. So, and Magna Cut, it's just even more expensive.
Yeah, Joe was saying that because he was trying to get his blades coming in 20 CV on the custom folder, but and like he was saying, it's not even. It's very hard now to get into the knife community because a lot of people are pushing steels to people that don't need the steels. Are getting pushed on them, and they feel as if they have to have them. And it's one of my little pet hates. And I know you can't say anything because
I can't because
yeah,
it's what works for you.
yeah,
And if you are a steel snob, then I'm fine with that. I'll make you a knife with Magna Cut.
yeah.
But if you ask me if I wouldn't carry a knife made with N690, I will say yes, I will definitely carry it
Yeah.
because it's a very good steel. It sharpens easily and it's got a good edge retention.
That's pretty
Um,
famous.
I don't use my knives as pry bars and screwdrivers. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I have been known to make
Yes,
mistakes.
but you're not going to be using his knives.
No, not his knives. When I carry my custom knives, I have a banger in my pocket.
Yes, yeah, or two,
Or two, yes.
just to make absolutely sure. Just to make absolutely sure. So now you've got yourself settled in, Michael, into the UK and everything. What are your plans for say the next 6 months? I know in a year you're hoping to be in Atlanta. So have you any big plans or adventures ahead of you? Things that you're experiments that you want to get?
So I fetched a surface grinder yesterday that I bought on eBay. And yeah, I'm just planning to get my workshop to a point where it will make it easier for me to make knives, and that's basically it. I just want to make them a bit quicker and get more orders, obviously.
Uh-huh. How long do you think you're going to be in England for? Or is this a right to retirement sort of thing?
So I have a 3-year contract, but I'm definitely going to try to stay here, Stephen. I don't want to go back to South Africa. If that answers your question.
Uh-huh. Is there a reason for that, or do you not want to talk about that? And I understand fully.
It's safety. It's a
Right.
better quality of life.
Yeah.
I think a few people. There's not many people that do understand the situation in South Africa if you haven't been there or have close relatives that lives there.
Mhm.
But yes, that's the bottom line is that.
Yeah, well, we're from Northern Ireland, so we went through 20 odd years of that. So I do understand what you're saying
Nobody better.
completely.
Nobody better.
Completely.
And it's such a precious thing to be
Yeah.
living in a place that you can call safe.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So, Michael, we're coming up, believe it or not, in 53 minutes. So we've got a few minutes left before the end of the show. So what I'd like to say is, anybody in the chat, got any more questions? And no, Jesse, this question does not count. Have I got shorter since the last time Jesse saw me? No, I haven't. I'm grayer, older.
It's funny. We love making a lot of our videos have got quite a lot of humor in them. We like a bit of crack when we're talking because you can get very serious about knives. And to me, it's a hobby. I don't want to get that serious because it would actually put me off if I got that serious. But we've actually got a place now to do outside videos, which is amazing. We've been given permission to go to this piece of land that has already got stuff on there that nobody will ever dream you would get to go and make videos.
Yeah, certain people are already calling it the Brokeback Mountain episode, which I really object to. Okay,
yeah, I cannot wait.
I'm too good looking for him, apart from anything else.
And you can't play rugby.
Well, anyway, but yes, so yeah, that's something for us to look forward to. And you know what would be absolutely perfect for that? A wee knife like this, I think, would be absolutely brilliant. What do you think? Any chance? What is this one actually, Michael?
That is a sheep's foot. That was one of my first designs that friend of mine, I can call him a friend. He's an Italian, Jeff Jennings. He's actually an American that stays in Italy. And he sent me 2 pictures of 2 knives that he likes and asked me if I can make a combination of the 2 with a Barlow handle. And that's what I came up with. And The one on the top is, I think, a 3.5-inch one.
I like
And
the hidden tang in it, the drop
yeah,
tang.
that
I
is
can see
basically.
I can see a little bit of crew in them as well.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't mean they're copies. I just mean you can see that
Influence.
the influence.
Yeah.
well, I learned from Willem, so there
Yeah.
must be some influence in it.
Oh, definitely, there has to be.
Yeah. They are beautiful, and I hadn't even realized that they were a sort of matching pair, which makes them even more special. That's amazing, and just in slightly scaled down for the smaller one.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
So I mean, oh, there they are. There, that's it. Look at those two.
I like that shield.
Yeah. And we're back to the shield.
No, it's just because I think that's what I've got on here as well. I can't
and you
see
can
it.
see it.
My
It's
glasses,
it is
I
such a
can't
pity
even.
that
Yeah,
you can't really see it that well.
my
No, I
glasses.
think that one has got a diamond on yours, Paddy. Even
Anything at
Well,
all,
that's-
just as long as you're looking at me, I'll answer. Can you see it? I can't.
I can't.
My
see it
glasses are so. I
either.
haven't got my.
It's like the blind leading the blind over here. So it is.
I can't see anything. Is there any? Are you going to go to any of the shows over here? Like this year, we're going to have the show in
Sharp Show.
Sharp Show again. Would you be taking a table there at all this year?
No, I'll be standing next to Mark at his table.
Right. Well, we'll see. Me and Justin will definitely be over for that. So we'll see you then.
We'll see you there then.
Yes, I really look forward to it. And I think you've got a nice host in Mark. You'll not go far wrong.
Michael, there's just a question from Joe, just again on your favorite handle material, but you were saying that it was the giraffe bone, wasn't it?
Yes, it's giraffe bone. Some of these machines that I have, I got from Jeff Hughes, and I think some of the material that I got from him might change my mind in the near future. I got some beautiful desert ironwood that I'm gonna have a go on the next knife or two.
Be still, my beating heart.
So yes, it might change from giraffe bone to desert ironwood.
Yeah, that's nice. Desert ironwood is beautiful.
So long as you get a good red in it.
Well, a good pattern in them, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
But I still can't go past that other one. That's the one I'm going to have.
Yeah.
Mark my words, this time next year.
The stabilized maple, and it's but you wanted in a clip bottle. Yeah. No, I want a Zulu spear. I've decided I want a Zulu spear.
That may be my second one the year after.
Yeah. we could be saving for a long time here, Michael. So I think that's pretty much us done. There's no further questions coming through in the chat, Michael. So what we'll do, unless you have any further questions.
No, I'd just like to thank him very much for being honest, open. He gave away trade secrets there he had no need to.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it as well.
I'm really glad you enjoyed it, and hopefully when you get settled, maybe a year's time, we'll come back to you and we'll get another video and maybe do a shop tour for us with a handheld camera or something. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Michael,
no, that would be possible.
Yeah.
No, that would be absolutely brilliant. So, Michael, thank you very much for joining us. And thank you to everybody in the chat. You slabbers again, making noise in the chat, and
they've been rude to you, love.
As always, Stephen. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Do you want a man hug?
No.
Right. Okay.
If I'm on a man hug, I'll go and find a man. No.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Michael, thank you so much.
Michael,
and it's been an absolute privilege. Thank you for taking us up on the offer. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a million. Thanks again, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. All the best.
I also really appreciate it, guys.
Take care now.
Keep well. Bye-bye. Bye.